Hello, dear grade 7 students. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to a new lecture. As you know, we're done with the first semester, and this lecture belongs to the second semester, and it's the second lecture of this semester. So, we're starting with a new theme. It's called Animals and Their Habitats. Let's start first by looking at the table of contents. We will introduce this theme in class, and also now we'll have a short, with the introduction, a discussion, and we will be reading the lesson and solving the comprehension questions. So we want to watch this video and try to answer the question, are animals intelligent? Now, we're not going to watch the whole video, but only a part of it. So we'll see now.
We humans have always had a sense of what makes us special. Sure, some creatures are stronger, faster. Other creatures have mastered the skies or the seas. But we alone possess intelligence.
What a piece of work is a man. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in apprehension, how like a god.
And we, the possessors of reason, placed ourselves above and apart from other living things. That is, until Charles Darwin knocked us off our pedestal with his theory that all species, even humans, are connected to each other through a long history of evolution. Darwin believed intelligence also evolved through natural selection and was not unique to human beings. Some dismissed Darwin's idea of animal intelligence as unscientific bias, the reading of human cognition into animal behavior. Darwin's peer, C. Lloyd Morgan, argued that experiment revealed a more elegant explanation, that all animal behavior arose from simple stimulus and response conditioning. His ideas influenced generations of animal behaviorists, from Ivan Pavlov to B.F. Skinner. The idea that animals are just stimulus response machines never really caught on with non-scientists. It does seem like this guy is thinking, that she is wondering, and that this one has a plan, and it is evil. A young primatologist, Jane Goodall, helped turn the tide on Morgan's minimalist approach by living with her research subjects. She devoted her life to the patient observation of chimpanzees in the wild. What she discovered ended the idea that only humans can think.
I peered through my binoculars. I saw a hand reach out to pick a piece of grass.
And to her amazement, that chimpanzee fashioned that blade of grass into a tool.
Pulling it out from the termite nest and picking the termites off with his lips.
Her discovery was earth-shaking. Up until that moment, it was believed that humans were the only creatures capable of tool-making.
That was what was supposed to make us most unique. We were defined as man, the tool maker.
Her mentor, Louis Leakey's response?
Now we have to redefine man, redefine tool, or accept chimpanzees as human.
What science did redefine was intelligence.
Human behavior is contingent upon the number of responses emitted.
As research began to reveal that human brains function in many ways similar to our primate cousins,
This Philippine macaque
as well as other animals farther and farther from us on the evolutionary tree. Whales and dolphins use sound to communicate complex ideas. Sea lions can grasp logic. And crows also make tools. Octopuses can learn to solve problems by watching other octopuses. Many animals can count. And scrub jays can remember places and past events. In some experiments, animals outperform us. Chimps have better short-term memory for numbers than humans. So it turns out the smarts we thought defined us are not unique to us at all. But don't feel threatened. We're still special. We're still at the head of the class. It's just a bit more crowded than we thought.
Hello.
All right. So back to our lecture. The essential question is in this video, before answering animals' intelligence, do you think that humans are special in terms of our brains? Are we the only species that can think, reason, solve problems, have memory, or also animals are capable of doing this? And especially when they learn it, as you can see in the video, like some birds, for example, they can learn, they can find tools. Some dogs, some of you maybe have pets or have seen pets also doing these things. So animals learn some behaviors when we, for example, put them in a specific situation or a specific experience. So are animals intelligent? That's the question. And are they similar to human beings or are we different? All right. So focus on your attention on these questions for our next lesson. So as we said before, the unit is animals and their habitats. And the first lesson that we're going to learn is animals' intelligence. So first of all, let's introduce the genre of this lesson. This lesson is a persuasive article. So what are the characteristics of a persuasive article? In a persuasive article, the author tries to persuade the reader, which means to convince us of a specific point, as if I'm explaining and giving reasons to you about a specific topic to convince you of my point. So I support my position and my idea or my point of view. It includes opinions because it's in the first place my personal opinion. So it includes opinions that are supported with details, reasons, maybe evidence and examples, real life examples, as you saw also in the video. So I have a position, I have an opinion, and then I start reasoning and explaining to you that my point is true to convince you that it's true, for you to believe it. And it also may include text features such as charts, headings, and graphs. And it have strong conclusion because after presenting all the details to convince someone of something, you conclude your main idea that you're trying to deliver. So that's the genre of this text, the persuasive text. All right, so now we move on to the essential question. As we said before, can animals be really intelligent or not? Okay. First of all, before starting with the reading lesson, we will be looking at the vocabulary words. So we will be reading sentences in which each vocabulary word would be included in a sentence, and we will be trying to figure its meaning from the context clues. So use the statements to talk with a partner about each highlighted word. The first word is fake, and I think most of you know the meaning of this word. So fake, for example, fake friends never betray in front of you, they always do it behind you. So what does it mean when something or someone is fake? Does it mean that they're being real or they're copying the real version? Think of yourself about the meaning and then we'll be presenting it next. Then we have insanely. For example, she got insanely jealous of her brother and there was a terrible fight. Insanely jealous. And then we have deceased. It was hard to recognize the identities of all those who deceased during the earthquake. Again, it was hard to recognize the identities of all those who deceased during the earthquake. What does it mean, those who deceased during an earthquake? And then interpreted. I didn't know whether to interpret her silence as acceptance or refusal. I didn't know how to interpret this. So what does interpret means? And then essence, In a sense, your situation is not so different from mine, in a sense. All right. And then extensively, it means, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean you're in a sentence. So, common cotton are extensively cultivated in China. Let's look now at the meaning of these words. So, fake is an adjective. It means to imitate, to copy the original version. It's a hoax or something false or a replica of the original thing. When I say that's fake, that's not true, that's not real, not original. Insanely is an adverb and it means in a foolish, wild, or uncontrolled manner. You know? So she was insanely jealous in a foolish way, in an uncontrolled manner, when someone is not controlling his or her behaviors. And then we have deceased, it's a noun, it means the recently dead person. So we say that deceased body, right? Or that deceased person. So it means the recently dead person in question. And then interpret. When we interpret something, we try to explain its meaning, to make sense of it, you know? So we're interpreting, we're trying to understand something by explaining it, deducing the meaning of it. And then essence, it's a noun and it means the intrinsic nature. The intrinsic means the like internal, the inner, the like the core nature, the main nature or the major nature, or the like spirit, for example, in some other contexts, or the soul of something. Then extensive is an adjective and it means covering or affecting a large area. Extensive, it means something that covers, for example, an extensive earthquake, which means that this earthquake, when I say it's extensive, I use an adjective to describe the earthquake as extensive. I mean that this earthquake covered a large area of land. Now let's start with reading. After introducing to you our main focus here or essential question, which is, are animals intelligent? Let's first look at the pictures. You have a parrot, you have cubes, maybe the parrot is being experimented, right? And we know that parrots can talk, mainly they can repeat what humans say. And we have their chimpanzee maybe drawing something, and that's the drawing that the chimpanzee did, and that would have a meaning. For example, especially in neuroscience, you might not get the meaning of that drawing, but it's based on the way that chimpanzee is thinking. So let's explore more through reading. Paragraph number 1. Animals may be extremely well organized and insanely energetic but brave, but will always have one giant advantage over them, our intelligence. So let's fit the vocabulary word insanely in this context. So insanely, remember its meaning. We said insanely, like in an uncontrolled manner, they're energetic. They have energy, animals, right? And they exert that energy. And animals are brave, but will always have one giant advantage over animals, which is intelligence. So, do we have an advantage as humans? Are we more intelligent than animals, or could they really share similar skills as humans? Let's continue reading. And since thinking is what makes us human, then we will always be the ruling species on this planet because all the other living creatures are really brainless. But is this statement accepted by all human beings? Well, not by all of them, because some of them think that we cannot rule the animals and they have intelligence too, and that we evolved from the animals and from being also like the chimpanzees and we share similar genes. That's what some people think, maybe mainly Darwin. So let's read paragraph number 2. Let's take a close look at Alex. Janine's parrot. So Alex is the parrot in the picture. It's the name of this parrot. When a parrot says something like hi or I love you obviously assume that it doesn't really know what it's saying. It's just mimicking human words in the same way that it would copy the sound of a barking dog. So, again, I will be rephrasing this. When a parrot says something to you, you don't think that the parrot understands what it's saying. You just think that it's mimicking, copying the humans, saying what humans say in front of them, just as they can copy a dog, a barking dog. It's just like a tape recorder, right? Alex the parrot was different. He could correctly identify 50 different shapes, recognize numbers up to six, distinguish seven colors as you see in the picture. There are three colors in the picture, and understand qualities such as bigger, smaller, same, and different. So I'm sure these information are new to you. Now, do you still think until now, and after reading this, which is only one idea, that the parrot doesn't understand what he says, for example, because they're using he for the parrot, so it doesn't understand what he says, or no, it's more intelligent than we think. So paragraph number 3. Alex didn't just associate a word with a specific object. He could generalize, which is usually something only humans can do. For example, when shown various keys, he could recognize that they were the same thing and even point out differences in size and color. That bird behaved more like a human. One day, as Dr. Irene was closing up the lab, Alex said goodbye by telling her to be good. Irene replied by saying, I love you, to which Alex answered, I love you too. He then asked, you will be in tomorrow? Irene assured him that yes, he would see her tomorrow. So it's a conversation as if it's a human talking. Paragraph number 4. He actually had conversations like that all the time. You can say what he was just faking his banter and emotions through years and years of social repetition, but at what point can't you say the same thing about humans? You only know to jokingly tell someone to be good when they head out for the night because you heard somebody else say it and remember it. So again, the point here is that do you think that the parrot is faking this conversation after learning how to do it? And if yes, wouldn't also humans be faking their conversations? Just as you said, you tell someone to be good when maybe you don't really mean it, but everyone says to someone who's living be good, so you say be good. So think of it. Then paragraph number 5. Dr. Pepper has taught some of Alex's tricks to other parrots, but so far none of them has displayed anything close to his remarkable level of intelligence. So far, it looks like he was one of a kind. Maybe the specific circumstances of Alex's upbringing turned him into the only parrot capable of higher cognitive thought processes. So maybe its environment helped these cognitive abilities to grow in this parrot's mind or in Alex's mind. Then paragraph number 6. Another case in point is Michael the painting gorilla. Common sense dictates that only humans can produce art, right? So art that is original and expressive. Original, something new, and expressive that expresses the person's thoughts or feelings. However, according to the experts, you can teach some animals how to be creative. You can teach them how to be creative, which means how to create new ideas. So usually we know that we teach something and the other person would be repeating it as is. So how could you teach someone and mainly an animal to be creative? So gorillas in particular are pretty good at that. as long as they have been trained to communicate with humans through sign language. So maybe that helps them because their brain is used to this. Take Michael, a gorilla, and the author of a painting called Apple Chase. So that painting you see in front of you is called Apple Chase. You would expect to see a red shape, but what Michael drew was black and white and looked like a dog, very similar to the pet dog that Michael used to own. So Michael had a pet dog, and what Michael drew is similar to a dog. Paragraph number 7. It's worth stating that Apple was deceased, which means dead, at the time Michael made this painting. So not only did Michael reproduce the image of the dog from memory, which means choosing those colors himself also, but he also named it Apple Chase because he used to solve playing chase, right, with the dog. He expressed his emotional anguish over Apple's death by painting a beautiful picture of his beloved friend. So this chimpanzee had a pet dog called Apple Chase, and when it was deceased, when the dog died, the chimpanzee drew this drawing and chose the colors and named it Apple Cheese, Apple Chase. And the chimpanzee was able first to create that painting from, we can't say nowhere, but the chimpanzee didn't copy from anywhere to make that painting. And next, the chimpanzee was expressing its feelings. Now, paragraph number 8. Judging intelligence, so judging, making like a decision that that's it, in animals is usually a difficult task because they are not human and cannot be expected to interpret the world the same way we do. In a sense, again, the core of it, our definitions of intelligence is a product of how we perceive the world. So we're trying to see whether they're intelligent. But again, the term intelligence even is our own definition, and it's based on our own way of thinking and our perception. But what if we're limited, for example? So, and it cannot be expected to interpret the world the same way we do. In a sense, our definitions of intelligence is a product of how we perceive the world. The term intelligence, therefore, is abstract. There is no specific definition that everyone can agree on based on what we're saying, and it involves more than only problem solving ability. So it's not only about solving a problem. Intelligence isn't only about solving this specific problem. It carries inherent value, so inherent, which means genetically inherited values. In other words, intelligent animals are not worth more or have more of a right to live than less intelligent animals. Intelligence simply exists. It's a survival tool used extensively, like on a wide range, by some species and moderately by others. All right? So by now, our reading comes to an end. I hope that all the details were clear in this reading. Let's look now at the comprehension questions. So we will be solving parts A and B, and the other parts would be a homework. So part A, you will be reading paragraphs 1 to 5 to answer the questions in complete sentences of your own. So I want you to be solving these questions and then looking at the answer later. So what's that makes man dominant or ruling on other species, and explain? Why are we controlling other species? It was mentioned in the text. And in what way or ways is Alex distinguished from the remaining parrots? This also was mentioned in the text. What higher order thinking ability could Alex master? What does the writer mean by saying he was just faking his banter? And then number 5, in what sense is Alex like human beings? So you're going to fill in the chart below and use phrases, not sentences. So what are the similarities between Alex and the human beings? Remember, when we compare, we show similarities. So present the similarities between Alex and the human beings. Then part B, you're going to read paragraphs 6, 7, and 8, and then answer the questions that follow. Number 1, how did human help Michael the gorilla become a painter? Give 2 pieces of evidence from the text. Number 2, who is Apple in the above text, and is he dead or alive? Number 3, pick out from paragraphs 6, 7, and 8 a cause-effect relationship. Number 4, according to your judgment and understanding of the text, does the writer think that animals can be intelligent? And verify your answer. And these are the questions that we'll be solving for today. So let me show you the answers for these questions. First of all, his intelligence or thinking abilities. Okay, let me go back. So his intelligence or thinking abilities are what make this parrot different. So man will always be the ruling species on this planet since other living creatures are brainless. So it was mentioned that they are brainless, they don't have the same thinking abilities as we do. Still, even after they presented these abilities of the parrot and the chimpanzee, still that's why most people think that we're the ruling species. Then number 2, Alex could identify 50 different shapes, recognize numbers, up to 6 distinguish 7 colors, and understand qualities such as bigger or smaller. Now, guys, I'm not going to read all the answers because I've already explained these answers in the text while I was reading them. So they're in front of you. As I said, your homework will be parts C, D, E, and F. Here is a small quote. Every animal has its own intelligence and sensitiveness, and we cannot, of course, compare and say that we're similar. I hope that everything was clear. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask me. And I just want to add one thing regarding the video that you were watching. There is an interview with various people, neuroscientists. I do not expect you to be understanding all the details that they're talking about, but I do recommend you continue watching that part of the video. Thank you and have a nice day.